Folks, welcome on this wet Tuesday afternoon, the third day of May. Wet in the national capital city. Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt, broadcasting from the national capital city, Georgetown, in Guyana. And we're so happy to have each and every one of you. Lots happening outside, even on a wet Tuesday. And we're privileged to have Drita Finance, our co host from FYI, still in the studio, still working hard. Drita, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. It's always a pleasure to be here with you during the podcast. This is a time I can just speak to you with not much consideration for how my hair is and anything like that. So,
Correct.
always good to be with you.
And guys out there, let us know if you are hearing us clearly. We want to make sure that is good, the audio is good, and that we we're seeing some signals that we're being received quite clear. But do let us know if you are hearing me good. Let us know that.
Magnell said sunny and cold in Brooklyn.
Sunny and cold in Brooklyn. Well, Magnus, we're gonna make the best of it. We're gonna make the best of it.
Oriana Lurd, hey, how are you doing? And Amabel Clements, I see you out there. Stacy and Stall, Dennis, I see you also. Rudolph Stevenson, I'm seeing Corinne Day. Says good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Corinne. Loretta Hines, hey Loretta, how are you doing? I see Aubrey Ward is here with us. Good day, everyone. Is it Nicola? Hey Nicola, how are you? What's going on?
Hi, Nicole. Hi, Audrey, Sandra, Baptiste. Good to see you. Good to see each and every one of you. What's for lunch? Pretty can tell you what's for lunch, and they said.
It's a half Chinese and a Coke. I don't know. It's typical Guyanese pick up as you go because for persons that have been following what is going on, we just came out off of the protest line.
Yes, we have.
So not much
We're
time
out
to
there
do
giving
anything
support
else.
to one and only Winston Jordan.
That is correct.
They've detained him, Soku, idle fabrications, idle
Political
fabrications,
prosecution.
political prosecution, trumped up charges, right? Fraud is fraud. Gotta call it as it is. Karambashan team, wasting state resources.
Yeah, we need to do better as a country. This can't be the order of the day. We can't just sit by idly and have that happen. So I thank all the persons that came out actually, to see citizens out there in the rain with their placard in hand.
In solidarity.
In solidarity, because this is a cause that affects all of us. We must not be waiting to see. We must not be waiting to see if it's when it's our turn. If we do not stand up to make sure, that justice is there for Mr. Jordan, what are we saying about the future? And when it happens to someone else?
That's why we got to keep pressing forward and we got to make our voices heard. Each of us have that responsibility. Making our voices heard.
I see Faye Scott is watching for Tushin. Hey Faye, nice to have you with us this midday. Always a pleasure to have folks from all over, across the length and breadth of this country.
Yep. Happy to have Faye. Happy to have Derek. Happy to have Brian.
Oriana Lord having it good. Oriana is having mashed potatoes and baked chicken. Sharon, different over there.
I only have a little Chinese and a little Cokes.
I see Siobhan McDonald is watching from New Jersey.
Fitzgerald is here as well. Carla Reynolds is here and Edward Gonzalez. Trito, guess we from? Okay. Edward Gonzalez.
I think the Bronx. Am I correct?
You're fired up.
Fired up and ready to go from the Bronx. Edward Gonzalez. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Eula is here.
Diane Mitchell. Eula Rubens. Below the Belt family.
We have you guys are here, and George is going to tell us about some of what is making the news, and then we can tell you what's happening with former Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan.
Guys, we need to, the first thing we need to do is make sure that you share the stream so other persons can be able to benefit from the information that is coming out there. I know that I'm seeing a lot of things in the on the news front, actually, some of which we discussed this morning earlier. And I think some of the things that I also made note of at the level of news is that the drug treatment court. I saw an article saying that 6 men had benefited from the drug treatment court, and it's interested enough that I was reading in the Chronicle, because the article actually said the pilot program was launched on the 21st of October 2019. I'm like, what am I reading from Chronicle?
I thought we didn't do that.
Right? And give offenders a choice outside of the traditional court proceedings to help them to get the treatment needed to overcome their addiction and be productive members of society. So, folks, for those of you who can remember that, that was indeed a program that started on the DAP and UALC administration, because we have to have better systems in place in order to deal with persons that are addicted to drug abusers and drug addicts altogether, so that they will be able to contribute to their own lives and by far the development of our country. You can't just the the system could not just be sending those persons, incarcerating those persons without having a proper system in place that they will be able to come back and be productive members of society.
Correct is right. Correct is right.
Yes, and as we discussed a little further this morning, so much is going on in Linden with the nurses up there also, and we amplifying the call that Rudy must go. At this end, this is something that we most definitely need to continue that call for, because it's unacceptable. When we talk about misogyny, the any act against women altogether, disrespect of women, and all of those things was seen in full light of day when Rudy Small opened his mouth and made comments about the nurses. So we have an audit
They
system
go on
out
by your
there.
street, man.
Yeah, a
Uh,
hospital administrator saying that, and it is unacceptable that the Vice President Barajagdeo, installed as he is, can actually say that he is a wild card. I think that was the terminology being used to describe that person, but yet the nurses in Linden are forced to have to be under his stewardship as the chief administrator at the hospital there. We cannot continue down that way at all. As we continue the podcast, as you guys come on, as more persons share the stream so that other persons can come on also. We like to say that it's raining throughout,
believe it
for
or
the
not.
most parts of the country, it's raining. And we're asking persons to be extremely careful on the roadways. There's no harm in slowing down. There's no harm in taking your time, being courteous, being responsible. We want you to arrive alive. That's our slogan when it comes to road use: arrive alive.
Those persons rated in the national capital city who are looking at the weather and trying to determine whether they're going to go out or not, or even head in back, it's not going to get better for the rest of the afternoon, because according to weather.com, the day started out with about 25. There was a 25% chance it's going to rain. And that currently is up to 43% chance. We know it's raining.
Yeah.
And then it increases as the afternoon wears on. 58% by evening, and then 66% overnight. So it's an afternoon rain.
I hope that other persons are receiving that information as well.
So, keep your umbrella close. It's going to be that kind of day. It's going to be that kind of day. And rain is expected tomorrow as well. I mean, this is now the May, June period we're in, and we know that traditionally our rainy season, there's 67% chance it's going to rain tomorrow, 62% on Thursday, 87% chance on Friday. It's raining on Friday. So it's a week of rain.
Well, I know that we're into the May June season, like you're rightly saying, and because of that, we know it holds. And I have to say, when it comes to there are things that needs to be done in order for you to prevent to do your part in preventing flooding in your communities and so on. And one of the things I would like to say is that it is not okay for you to be throwing garbage on the streets. It's not okay for you to be driving in a car just casually opening the window and throwing garbage
Mm-hmm.
out of
Mm-hmm.
the window. It's not okay for any
I
of
saw
those
that just
things.
yesterday. People just don't care, but it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you hold that piece of garbage with you until you get away with it? You know,
Most definitely.
it's sad. It's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
But people need to be more responsible if we're going to preserve this beautiful country of ours.
And well, since we are looking at the weather.com, I'm hoping that the persons there that's operating the pumps and so on, that they're following what's going on weather.com also.
Well, I hope the pumping,
We don't want a sad story,
they better pump.
Can't be the experts and having
Getting it
those
wrong. No,
mistakes
we got to get
all
it
the
right.
time.
Right? We got to get it right. What else happening out there? Is anything else we need to know about?
As it comes up, we'll go through it, but I believe that the most importantly, right about now, we need to focus on what is going on with Winston Jordan and the
Yeah.
prosecution, his prosecution altogether.
Yeah. Amongst, Trita, I know you got some, you got an interview, one or two. We even spoke with Amanda, who was on the ground this morning out there protesting our colleague, co-host from FYI. She was talking on this very issue of the detention of um, Winston Jordan.
Hmm.
And I think we do have some of that. And oh, or do we?
We do have it, but I don't think my system
Mhm.
lines up with yours. But I'm just going to actually
You gonna
play
play
it.
it?
And
Let's see how that
guys,
goes.
let me know if you're hearing it clearly, please. I'm gonna take two bit of comments. First, you're gonna take from Manzo Walton Desir, our co-host from FYI, and then another from Mr. Sherwin Holder, MP and chairman
Chairman,
of the
yeah.
PNCR. So let me take it from Manzo first before we get into anything else.
So we're out here in support of the Minister of Finance, Mr. Winston Jordan, who continues to be very maliciously prosecuted by the government using SOCO as their arms. We have had enough of this kind of abuse. Mr. Jordan has been a public servant that has served this country with distinction, and we must point out under their administration as well. And so for them to be subjecting him to this kind of humiliation is unacceptable. We have already noted that they have a pattern of victimizing Mr. Jordan whenever they find themselves under criticism for the way they have managed the Guyanese economy. We noticed that they have been lying about their diets. They have been mismanaging the economy. And so this, we continue to say, is a well-timed distraction to distract Guyanese from their mismanagement. You may agree or disagree with some of the policies that Mr. Jordan had, but the reality is that the majority of Guyanese saw a distinct improvement in their standard of living under the APNUAFC government. It was under his watershed minister that there were successive increases in the public servant wages and salary. You saw the bailout of NIS, which bankrupted under his watch. And so he has served with distinction. And what we are saying is that the legal system cannot be used as a tool to persecute those that you use your political opponents. It is unacceptable. It is contrary to every norm of democracy, and the people of Guyana must wrongly condemn it, because today it's me, tomorrow it's you, Joretta, or Sharon, and the next day it will be them. And so we have to install institutionalized rituals, and we must uphold the rule of law and demonstrate as a nation. We are concerned with law and order. You cannot use the law as a tool to persecute without any foundation or without any justification to simply humiliate your political opponents. We are heading down a slippery slope, and unless we arrest it, Guyana will become a victim.
There you have it, folks. Samantha Walton Desir, MP, actually stating it very
Yep, yep,
clearly,
yep,
very,
yep. Put
very
it to you as it
clearly.
is.
Yep.
Put
Saying
it
that
to
you
us
cannot
as it is. No
use the
sugarcoating.
law. Yep, you cannot use the law to just humiliate your political opponents. This cannot be the order of the day. And I have also comments from Mr. Sherwin Holder, and he is none other than the chairman of the PNCR. So allow me to just play those words from the chairman of the PNCR, Mr. Sherwin Holder.
We're out here in support of Winston Jordan, former finance minister. To me, is the hypocrisy, the double standard that is occurring right now in our country. You had Daniel Dandela, you had the no finance minister, you had Irfan himself before the courts, where the courts ruled that you had legitimate charges against them. But they dropped all those charges, now they choose to harass Winston Jordan. Every time he speaks about the corruption that is occurring in this country. Free Winston Jordan!
There you have it.
Yep,
Everyone
yep, yep, yep,
voicing
yep.
their opinions and out there in the rain on the protest line. You for guys, you can't see it, but we have the chairman there, all soaked with rain, standing there in solidarity, making sure that his voice is heard in collection with all the other folks out there.
The struggle is real.
Yep.
And we've seen in the past, Drida, how the installed cabal and regime have been trying to weaponize the courts, right? Interestingly enough, we see as soon as they came into office, remember they had some charges laid against them? Those charges without reason were dropped by the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Ali Haq. You had charges against um, the now Attorney General Alan Nandalal, in which there is the reported, uh, or the rather the alleged stealing of law books. We've had charges against Brassington,
Mm-hmm.
Winston Brassington, and Ashley Singh. Those charges were dropped,
Mm-hmm.
right? We saw that. We saw how they dismantled SARA. Remember SARA, the State Asset Recovery Agency?
Mm-hmm.
42 workers were fired from SARA alone. 42, right? And then we saw the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Aliha, withdraw charges. There were private criminal charges filed against Claudette Singh as well. And so there's a different yardstick that is used when concerns the PPP protecting their own. And we got to fight against that because all must be equal before the law. All must be equal. That's the challenge that we have.
Well, the system as is, it's as though some persons are more equal than others. I think that was the whole concept. It's a different animal farm we're living on,
Mhm.
a different animal farm, but it appears that some persons are more equal than others. And we're saying that that cannot be the order of the day.
Mhm.
It is impossible for any country to move forward in that light. It can't sustain, and we cannot be moving from one point to the other as we are right now, as though it is business as normal.
Yep, yep, yep.
It's an
And
embarrassing state of affairs.
while Mr. Jordan languishes there at Soko headquarters, um, in addition to what we've already said to you, there have been the prosecution of a number of persons, just like Mr. Jordan, by the administration, right? By the administration, and what, um, yeah, just the severe prosecution of others, right? For instance, if you guys remember that when the new administration took over, right, when the state took over, we saw Courtney Ben contracting,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
They were sued over St. Rose's High School, right? We see Esmeraj Contracting Services Limited, right? They were sued over the one selling, right? And then you had the case where car care owner, right? Car care owner was being sued. Trevor Ben also was is being prosecuted, not was, is being prosecuted.
Still.
And so many other issues like that
Hmm.
that tells us of this wicked, nasty PPP.
But I can't, like I've been saying, every chance I get, that
Tell us again.
unless we stand up and have our collective voices heard, unless we have a unified action, we're gonna continue to see these things. And I like to borrow your terminology, and to say that when you settle for less, temporary becomes permanent. So we have to decide that this state is not a temporary state, and it has been strongly becoming permanent every other day that it persists. And I believe it was Hamilton Green that actually had, in one of the things he said in the article for Labor Day, was that you cannot just wait and say, oh well, it's not bothering me today, this is not bothering me, because when it does bother you, there would be no one left to stand with you if you
Correct.
don't go out there and stand up with the people that's been affected right now. So I commend all of those persons that are out there in the rain, joining us as we raise our voices and lend support to Mr. Winston Jordan. He had Winston Jordan is quite a character, and we can understand why he is so feared and why his voice is so feared. Versus want to keep him away from actually breaking down things and bringing attention to all the nonsense that is being done right now.
Precisely. And so, again, the whole trajectory of our thoughts today is that Mr. Jordan is just another person who this government has gone after since they took over,
My goodness.
right? It's just some other person that they've gone after. And you name it. You have from Christopher Jones, Yvonne Lawrence, you name it, and it's there.
Well, you're leaving yourself out.
Everything is there. Well, I didn't want to say in a braggadocious way.
You're leaving yourself out. I think one of the most ridiculous things we've ever seen thus far is you being dragged before the court for what persons call it, cyber. What is it?
Cyber crimes.
I don't think any specific charge has actually been identified as yet, but I do believe that the cybercrime law is the one that's being they're trying to utilize there to say that you don't have the freedom to use words. Right? So political victimization, as
That
Marlon
continue.
Thomas is calling it out there, very much so. And we need to continue to speak out. We can't just accept these things. That's just not the order of the day. It will never be the order of the day. And when people fail to speak out, those are the things that actually becomes the norm. So we do not want to go down that line. We will not be going down that line in having such things become the norm. And we have in our own possibly on our own possible ways. Everybody will not be able to do the same thing. Where folks are joining us online right now from all parts of the world, you guys will not be able to join with us on the protest line, but we all have our own unique way in which we can go about fighting this corrupt system, fighting political victimization, political marginalization, fighting the fact that political directives are being given to institutions that should not be utilized in such manner. We have to continue to be this solid group of persons that speak out against these matters. And in
Yeah,
your own
yeah,
way, you
yeah.
may be surprised to
Yeah.
know that the little things that you do in your own groupings could go such a far away. So we always encourage persons to say your bit, lend your voices on social media, say what you have to say, because this is like it or not, this is 2022, and the order of the day is not necessarily what it was when I was born. We have different ways of doing things, and technology, the utilization of technology to get across a message has never been before been so important as it is right now. Today we see technology being utilized in every single front. Yeah, so we have to have that unique blend. We go out there in the protest line, we come out here and we give you the information. All of these methods and channels of communication is necessary. I know some persons prefer a certain method of doing things and a certain method of having your voices heard. But I can say at this point in time, it is my view that every single channel is necessary to utilize, and there's no one way that you are going to be able to fix this and to get the results that you're looking for. So we have to do our part to inform the population. We have to do our part to stand on the protest line. You have to do your part to share the information. You have to do your part to make sure that you put your comments out there, write articles, whatever you can do to make sure that we have a collective voice in this fight for betterment of Guyanese.
Correct. And as you said, Tricky, we gotta stay vigilant. We gotta stay militant. Right? We gotta stay powered up, fired up, and ready to go. We got, and that's why all of this is part of that across. So this large to expose, to depose, right? To impose, perhaps,
That is correct.
right? On the current status quo, the modus operandi, see, there's a lot of ways, there's an way we can be doing this, a better way we can be doing this. And that's why we have to partner with us. Not because we want to build a house and buy fancy car, but because it takes something to keep this work up and going, keep people informed, right? Keep people in the know of what the Jacobats doing, what the trench are doing. Yeah, that's what it takes. That is what it takes.
Jean Williams, I see you there. And Loretta, I see you guys there. Basil Clark, I see all of you there. We have to continue doing what we're
Yeah.
doing. It is
Yeah.
not every day you get up, not every day you get up and you're feeling well. Some days I get up and not feeling so well, but it is my duty and responsibility to just get up and do the work. So
Gotta
that's
keep
what I
pushing.
do.
Gotta keep
No
pushing.
matter what, no matter what, we have to get up and do the work. I think the whole the whole fact that we still at this point in time, 2022, 2 years in for the PPP, and their biggest fight is to
Yeah.
bring trumped up charges on using political directives for Mr. Winston Jordan. This is a time when they are in the process of spending the biggest budget ever.
Yeah.
Guyanese are starving, cost of living on the increase, wages and salaries still stagnated, persons still struggling to make ends meet at the end of the day, and the biggest fight that they can see is to politically prosecute Winston Jordan. That is the order of the day for them. At the same time, when they're going around the country and they're having outreaches, when persons in their strongholds are have been standing up and speaking up against them, at this point in time, they do not see the necessity in fixing and providing remedies and solutions for all of these matters, but they want to put a distraction forward.
Yeah.
That hey, let's pull in Winston Jordan again and have the attention go there. So persons may forget that auntie and uncle at the outreach in Barbados was so vibrant in their condemnation for what is going on right now. But we will not be distracted. We have to continue to make sure that we hold them accountable every single day, morning, noon, and night, as it is done here. FYI, below the belts in the ring, morning, noon, and night, as it happens, we bring the information to you so that the administration is held accountable.
Yeah. 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 We gotta keep fighting out here. On every front. On every front. And we're gonna try to touch base with the chief whip, Christopher Jones, to see what's happening and if we've had any Any positive movements on this matter? We're going to try to touch base with Christopher Jones shortly, and we're going to let you guys know.
Yes, and I can mention at this time as we were leaving on the protest line to come into the podcast, one of the things you can notice that none other than Roysdale Ford, Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford, is the one that is climbing the step at Suku there to make sure that he is representing Mr. Winston Jordan and whatever legal needs he have right there at the
Yep,
moment.
yep, yep. So, this is what's going down. Currently, we're going to try to get some more insights for you guys. But being detained, we're going to try to get an update from one of the folks who've been on the ground there.
Amabel says Comrade Jordan is a thorn in their side. I have to agree with you there. As soon as he turns and speaks, two word, they're trying to arrest him.
That's the nature of the business, unfortunately, especially when dealing with wicked people, especially when dealing with wicked, stink, and dirty people. That is the nature and quality of them.
I see Nicholas Griffith is saying that Guyanese need to come out in their numbers and take the
Correct, correct.
streets.
Folks, I think I have Christopher Jones, Chief Whip, with us, and we're going to try to get a quick update from Chris. Sorry, on what's happening, if there's been any changes and what's happening down there at Soko. Chris, thanks for coming through in short notice.
That's fine, Jared.
Good. So talk to us about what's happening at the ground there at Soko. And we know when last we spoke, Mr. Jordan was being detained by Soko. But let us know if there's been any change on the ground there.
Right. So there has been a change. So Jordan has to report back to Suku on Tuesday of next week at 10 o'clock. And there's an expectation that he might have to attend court on Wednesday. So he has left Suku in the company of his attorney, which is senior counsel Rising Ford. And of course, you had the large gathering of people who were outside of Suku as well.
Uh, Chris, what is your take on this? Why today, in terms of detaining former Minister Winston Jordan?
You know, I think it's a broader overall thing that is happening in the country, particularly as it relates to the oil and gas industry. And note the monies that will have to pass through the system and so forth.
Mhm.
Mr. Winston Jordan, who has been someone who worked in the Ministry of Finance from a very tender age, right on up until he became the Minister of Finance. So Winston Jordan is a person who is astute as it relates to the financial architecture of this country. So the likes of Bharat Jagvi, Ashley Singh, and so forth understands this, that while it is easy for them to use the term, not to be disrespectful, but to use the term bamboozle the Guyanese people as it relates to the expenditure that is happening in the country. Winston Jordan is the individual who can break that down into dollars and cents and
Mhm.
make sense of what is happening in the country. And they realize that. So in order for them to continue to reap from the coffers, they need a Winston Jordan
Wicked.
who is distracted.
Mhm.
Um, you're right. He's not able to focus on what is happening in the country, to intimidate him, to instill fear in him, so that he wouldn't be as outspoken as he is. I mean, we've heard him on your program. We've heard him on several other programs of which he breaks it down to the Guyanese people of exactly what is happening as it relates to the expenditure in this country. And Jagdeo and Ashley, they understand and they recognize this. And that is why they have to instill fear and intimidation in him to get him to shut up, so to speak, so that they can continue to do what they're doing to the finances of this country.
Correct is right.
That is so correct, Chris, because persons would remember, and Chris, you can further tell persons some more about this. Mr. Jordan was speaking out very often, and he was very critical of the way in which the administration is utilizing the finances, and because of that, that was actually the very first arrest was made of Mr. Jordan, is because of that period in which he was addressing everything as is. He spoke about the whole aspect of trickle down economics, and those are concepts that Guyanese are very familiar with right now because of the amount of information that was dispersed by Mr. Jordan and other members of parliament also, so persons can understand very well that it is because he is speaking out and because he is breaking these things down so that the ordinary Guyanese will be very able to understand what is going on. That is the reason why he is in this position right now, and the prosecution of Mr. Jordan continues.
Mhm. Absolutely. I mean, you take, for example, last week, Jagmeo's attempt to bamboozle the Guyanese people when he spoke to workers, I think it was in the Berbice region, and try to tell them that the reason why they can't get their money from NIS has something to do with the coalition when they were in office just a couple of years ago. And I mean, even without Mr. Jordan, you had well yourself, Sharon, Border Lawrence, Aubrey Norton, and so forth, came out and was like, listen, we have a Guyanese, and that is the reality, Guyanese have not forgotten the fact that when Bara Jagdeo was president of this country, they wreaked havoc
Correct.
as it relates to the monies in the national insurance scheme.
Correct.
They used the NIS money into CLICO. He used the monies on NIS to pay for that Borabis River Bridge and
Correct.
so many other major investments that Jagdeo did, all of which failed. Jagdeo failed investment, and he used the resources from the national insurance scheme to pay for that. And that is what is being exposed every single day, his continuous lies and so forth. So an individual like former Minister Winston Jordan, who again could break it down on a 1 hour program and break that down into fine change and have their supporters, the PPP supporters in those regions understand, and not wanting to belittle them, because quite frankly they understand. But at times they get caught up with the whole propaganda of their political party because they are aligned with them and they want to believe them. But they too know the reality that, you talk about the Skeldon Sugar Factory, the big mega project, Barrett Janyo, to quote his words, that such a project could never fail, It could never fail. Major investment, and up to now, we can't get a pound of sugar out of Skeldon Sugar Factory. And it is the same Barrett Jagdio who took the money from the NIS, plugged it into CLICO, and then CLICO failed. And then the same Barrett Jagdio took the money from NIS, plugged it into the Borbice River Bridge, and which the people, the residents in Borbice, their own supporters couldn't even pay to afford to cross the bridge. And the very bridge wanted to increase the price of toll. And it was David Patterson under the APNUAFC government that had to step in and defend the people.
Correct.
So these things you can't forget, and then more so now that you are dealing with the oil and gas industry in this country, that billions of dollars will be pumped into this country, and where those money goes, it's people like Winston Jordan who can tell you where the money goes, or where the ducking and where the hiding it.
Yep. Absolutely right.
And that is why the prosecution of Winston Jordan, as we keep calling it here, continues because of that.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
there's so much going on the ground, but we have to. I want to. Chris, what I think that I think we are very thankful, and I have said it before, but to see the persons come out and stand there in the rain with placards in their hand in support and in solidarity with Mr. Winston Jordan at this time.
Correct, definitely, even for those who are unaware that the exercise was happening, they passed in the minibuses, they passed in the cars, they honked their horns, they honked the horns like, yeah, we are with you, and you appreciate that and so forth. But as it comes to next week, when we go out there, we would want to extend an invitation. Come out again, And because listen, it's like the bottom has already fallen out of this whole PPP administration. The bottom has already fallen out. And the lies don't work anymore. This is the age of social media. People have access to information. Jaglio said that, oh, it's because of the coalition, the NIS and the money. A simple child could Google NIS money, and you will see Jaglio name come up right through. Jaglio invested in the Clico, Jaglio invested in the bridge, Jaglio invested in the Skelman, and then you will see all these projects fail. So Jaglio, those propaganda don't work anymore.
Yeah.
It don't work anymore. But more so, they want to say to people that, listen, if you jump up, we can deal with you. You understand me? And they're using Winston Jordan now as an example. Oh, Jordan, you want to talk about the fact that we keep these money and we did this and way, you can see what we can do with you. So anybody now who reads, do their research, which is easy to find, just Google it. And the person want to post now on Facebook, like, oh, you know what? This is what Barry Jaglio did good. No, they want to instill fear into the society. That even though you read this, you understand this is happening, you will be fearful of posting, making public pronouncements on it. Because you're just continuously exposing the PPP administration. That is what they're doing. And I keep reiterating this point, that under the 23 years of the People's Progressive Party civic, this is exactly what Guyana was known for. Any political activist speak about or spoken about the atrocities, whether it had been extrajudicial killing, whether it had been a PPP government phantom death squad that was operating in this country under Ronald Gadraj's tenure as ministers. You've seen what happened to those persons. Mark Benchcock was in prison for treason. Ronald Waddle was assassinated, and the list goes on. The list goes on of the atrocities that was meted out to the Guyanese people under the People's Progressive Party civic. So here now that Irfan Ali is attempting to hoodwink the Guyanese people and whitewash like nothing like that never happened and speak about oneness, and everybody must hold hand and sing the song Kumbaya, my Lord, and everything is fine and hunky and dory. That is not the reality of this country.
Right.
So while their propaganda is on a high about this one Guyana, and they have their pawns in various organizations, religious bodies as well, repeating their propaganda about this oneness, the reality is completely different. Because you still have the situation in which many persons who are in the public sector, even today while we were out there, a person came to me and said just last week she received her termination letter because of her advocacy and so forth. That continues to happen. From since the PPP got into office to date, you have thousands of Guyanese who have been terminated from their places of employment. You have contractors. I can tell you about one in Micah right now. The man ain't getting one single contract, he ain't even getting a contract to pluck a fowl. Not even a contract to pluck a fowl because he served under the previous administration.
Wow.
That is what is happening. So how could you speak about oneness? What oneness? What oneness? Look what transpired in the budget just the other day as it relates to the allocation from region number 4. The regional administration, the elected official, the regional chairman, vice chairman, nor the councillors had no role to play in putting together Region 4's budget. It was the REO in the office of the Ministry of Local Government. And that is why when we grilled the minister during the consideration of the estimate, when was the consultation process had? He couldn't give us a date or time. So therefore, the entire budget was put together by Nigel Darmalal. So despite diligence, whether it be Golden Grove, Nabakalis, Eccles, whether those on the East Bank and so forth, whether those regions, when those councils walk around, and the people in those areas said that, listen, this back street is bad, we need this trench to be silted, our burial ground is in a state, we need this bridge to be built and so forth. And those councillors took that information, went to their caucus meeting, submitted that, okay, Victoria got to get this, Hansgrove got to get it, Pleasance got to get it, BV needs this, and so forth. When these people now believe, okay, out of the budget, you will see these resources come to. No, Nigel Darmala's staff in Kingston deleted, erased, trash all of their submissions, and he decided, hey, what we could do this here and we could do that. Without the people's representation, and then the PPP speaks about democracy and local democracy and people having a right to participate in the process. Absolute nonsense. That don't happen. That doesn't exist in this country right now. It does not exist. And when Irfan Ali jumping around left, right, and center speaking about oneness, what oneness? It is nothing more than propaganda and a wicked political game. And all of those funds in those religious groups and those organizations that continue to go out there to peddle Irfan Ali's propaganda about oneness, they are more wicked than the PPP itself. And particularly those ones in the religious bodies and so forth. When your day of reckoning comes, you will have to answer to the Almighty about your role that you played. It's propaganda about oneness when you know the people are suffering in this country. That is a reality.
Chris, I'm happy you talked about them talking about how much they love democracy and so on, but their actions are quite contrary.
That's right.
Just
That's
thinking about
right.
Sabbath News, Chris, over the weekend, believe it or not, there have been IMCs, interim management committees, appointed for the the West Demerara Market Cooperative Society, and also the Amalgamated Transport and General Cooperative Credit Union, which is in addition to what we saw at Linden with the Linden Utility Service Cooperative Society there, and much the same, I would say, about the Bartica Boat Association, because there was an election there. They didn't like who had elected, so they gone and squashed the whole thing and put in an IMC.
Well, I don't know.
So them boys come back.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
You're right to them.
strange.
Them by
Strange, Chris. And you spoke about you use the word democracy there and how they haven't been operating in that manner. But strange enough, there is an article that actually says the PP government is an example rather of consultative democracy. So says Barajagio.
Oh my God.
How you take this? Hope your chest broad.
Oh my God.
Take the chest.
Consultative democracy, an example. The PP, Chris, an example of consultative.
Yes. Wow.
The same
Wow.
consulting broadly for the for Irfan to be the presidential candidate. Same way.
Yeah,
Broadly.
My God.
Same way. There was another headline to Twitter. What was the other one?
I think the other one was again. This is Jagdio says again. The voters list not bloated. Jagdio says as GCOM gears up for LGE. So
Oh my God.
It was the imagination, Chris. It wasn't the truth.
It was apparently
it
was everybody's imagination because this is not a APNU AFC position that the list is bloated. This is widely known. This is a GCOM position also.
It's bloated.
Wow.
The list, the abdomen of the list is just naturally big.
So,
Wow.
It's not bloated.
but there are so many things for us to deal with, and I can honestly say that to protest these matters, you have to every morning you get up, you have to go to a different location because there are so many things. You probably can't even spend an entire, not even half a day at a location. You have to keep moving from location to location because every single day there's a new set of nonsense happening. Every single day more persons are being prosecuted, if not with the utilization of the court. It's more so administrative prosecution when it comes to persons that they believe are not in tune or in line with what they want. Anyone that has an independent voice, anyone that wants to utilize their own brain to think, basically, those persons are being prosecuted.
Because Chris and the whole neighborhood shut down in darkness. 500 roll out the vehicle. It was full on. It's like the crime of Pablo Escobar.
I tell you.
Chris, where do we go from here? As we didn't want to keep it for much longer, but where do we go from here? What is the advice, the encouragement to our Guyanese brothers and sisters across the divide because people are hurting on all sides in this country.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I would want to share with them the very advice that I adopted some years ago when I got involved in this whole political process.
Mhm.
And then more so, as a husband, as a father, I have my little people, as I would call them. I have my little people to secure their future.
Mhm.
Um, because in a couple of years from now, my time on this earthly plane will come to an end.
Mhm.
But what would I have bequeathed to them? You know? And that's why I said to you, is that at a point in time and life is that you must identify something that you are prepared to die for.
Mhm.
And if you haven't identified that one thing, it's that you really truly have no right living. You know,
That
that's
is
how I
what
put it.
Martin Luther King said.
And
If you haven't
yeah,
found a reason to live, to die, you aren't fit to live. Go ahead, Chris.
exactly. You know, so it's like for me, I've seen that one thing that listen, my children and my grandchildren to come must be able to live in a Guyana in which they have equal access to all of the resources.
Mm.
In which, if they decide that they want to get 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 acres of land to plant, to do whatever, they must have that right to get access to that, just like the person who perhaps is a different ethnicity to them or a different religious group to them. When they walk into a place for employment, they must be employed based on the qualifications for the job that they're doing, not
Yeah.
because of some relationship to somebody actually. You understand me? It mustn't be that I could go to I must go to a commercial bank or they could be able to go to a commercial bank. And just like how somebody of their age group, but a different ethnicity is able to get from the commercial banks, like what is happening here in Guyana, $100 million. But when my children walk in, because they're black, they could only get 20. Same qualification, the same assets, just like the person who gets in 100 million. Because that too is a reality that is happening in this country. The banking sector in this country as well discriminate. You could be a black man, you could have two shops. For $20 million, you get two. Whereas you could be an East Indian Guyanese with two shops, just like the black man, but you could get 20 million. That is a reality what's happening in this country. That is a reality.
Mm.
So that's why for me, it pains me when you hear people talking about this oneness
Mm.
and putting a veil over their eyes, not to see the reality what is happening in this country and not speak about it. And don't say to me that, listen, why you talking up? They're going to lock you up. They're not going to employ you. You're not going to make money. Then so be it. Because at the end of the day, after me, they will come after my children.
That's right.
Therefore, I got to do what I have to do now to ensure that I make it right for them because they have a right. And that's what I'm saying is that the resources in this country, particularly now in an oil and gas industry, the resources are so plentiful. With a population of less than 1 million people, not one single Guyanese should be complaining about nothing,
Mm.
regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your political persuasion. None of you supposed to be complaining about nothing. Resources there.
Mhm.
Every single one of you supposed to be like, naya. You
Mhm.
want to send your children to study overseas, the money there. You want to build a new house, the money there. You want the land plenty, we got land all over this place. Why is it that I have to toll up a place to get a land? Ride around and wrong and push around. Or the limit me in terms of what I can get. Oh, you can only get 2 acres. I want somebody else who doesn't look like me, age, same assets they have, but they can get 20 tons. What is that? Why is that so? In a country with all of the resources? No, I have to speak. And I will continue to speak until the day that I leave these earthly planes.
Mhm.
People must remember me that he did what he had to
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
and it's up to you thereafter to do. That is real. I want to leave them with that. There must be something in your life that you're prepared to sacrifice
Yeah.
for. And if you haven't identified that thing just yet, you have no right to them.
Thank you very much, Christopher Jones, Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip. Thank you for coming through in such short notice, and of course, talking to us about this myriad issue. Thank you so much, Chief.
Yeah, most welcome, Cheryl. Thank you.
Okay, Chris, thank you.
Yep. You heard it there, folks. You heard it there. We gotta keep pressing forward. We gotta keep pressing forward. No retreat, no surrender. Right?
Most definitely. I hear the comments made by Chris. They're so spot on with everything that he's saying because he who feels it knows it. I can put it over in that way, and I again insist on if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, and
Them boys and K.
you have to stand up against it. These atrocities are things that will continue if persons do not stand up for it. And I can assure people that this has to be a unified stance. And I can tell persons further that if 31 MPs can go and stand in front of Suku, day after day, every single day, it will mean more when when other people come out here and stand alongside, stand with us, make sure that their voices are heard. That's the solidarity that we're asking for.
Yep. Good to see people like Selena Fraser. It is true die hard. People like Selena Fraser who keep this program going and help us to stay in the fight.
Yeah.
They don't just talk.
Correct.
They don't just come and put a comment. You understand me? There's back you. There's the back-ins. People like Selena Fraser, all the way in Waterloo, Canada.
Foundation family there.
Right? Who brace you and say, I can't be here, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Right? But watch this. I got you. And here's how I got you. Right? Bap, bap, bap. Right? So when you hear me saying, thank you, Selena Fraser, y'all don't come in we way. Right?
Yes,
Y'all
yes.
brace people too. But we got a lot of social media activists, and that's how far it goes, But you see, when people like Selena Fraser and all the other guys who are extra supportive of us, brace you said these people here mean business. You understand me? These people here mean business. A lot of people could talk, they talk ahead. I got y'all. Soon as police come, they got some guy running, meaning though, I want a little walk. This, da.
Yeah.
Right? But them die hard. You don't got to be here on the ground to be in the struggle. Right? This war is a global village now.
Yes.
Right?
Everything is interlinked.
You send me a little message. I don't know ahead. This is what going down.
Yes.
This is a brother in the struggle. Not all of we could be in the struggle like this. There was one point in our life we weren't at the front. We were at the back of the struggle.
That most definitely.
Right.
I came to the front of this struggle. This is I said this is my time in the front. We took to the front, to the very front.
Yes, and we won't always be in front of the struggle either. Right?
We have to do our part in our time.
Another crop of young people are gonna come.
During
Right?
our time, we have to do what
Another
we can
set of
during our
rastas gonna
time.
take we place.
Rightly so. That's the system.
Right?
That's how
Another
that's
set of
what happened.
rastas. Stacey and Stoll and Patricia Kisu and all the other. Deborah Clark is another person who got me back.
Deborah, my gosh, what are we gonna do without persons like Deborah?
Deborah's
Clark?
Bracery.
Yes.
Magnell Barrow. Right? Bracery. I can't hear. Yeah, I got for leopard forward in Babylon country, making the heights.
You say it best.
Right? But bracing us, Deborah, thank you so much. It takes something. You listen to me. You think that war in Ukraine is fought on tanks and zero? You think bullets? I ain't talking here about physical bullets, right? But in this political warfare, the political ammunition, you think it's free? Right? We gotta all be part of the struggle. Right? Tireless nights. Time away from family to be out here because we think about all families.
Yeah.
Right?
We neglect our own families at times.
So that all families could benefit.
Our own families at times.
So thank you, Deborah Clark, and all the other folks who brace me. More than usual, Derek McCalman. Good to see all of you guys on the live. We're so thankful because that's how we've been getting by from month to month. You think you got an office service go and you know bills paid, right? But we have been out here and we've been able to do this because of you, because of the soldiers they got in the struggle who weren't here necessarily, and even some folks who here who say I can play my part, and that's real struggle. And I really want to say thank you because you know we've been out here and we've been really truly doing it, right? I was thinking 6 months this morning
Yeah.
again because we celebrated our first anniversary in November
Oh, that's true.
of last year, and so we are a year and a half out here. How we doing now?
Persons like Deborah Clark.
Persons like Deborah Clark, right?
That's how it's been done. Every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts. That's how we in the struggle.
Yeah.
A year and a half we out here. Right? Mayor since the last campaign, we worked before coming through. Campaign came and went, recount came and went. We still out here working. We still out here working. Arrest, no arrest, you name it. And more is to come tomorrow. You can hear the guy down at Soku. And some foolishness. Because their thing is to disrupt what you're doing. Right? Disrupt what you're doing. And we can disrupt back to them. We can disrupt back them again. Right? Right. Marlon Thomas. Come on, Marlon. Marlon is a soldier. And I'm so grateful for all these folks. I'm so grateful for all of these folks. You took me laughing. That are on with us. Donna Barry and of course Marlon Thomas.
I see Carol Jacobs is on there as well. Patricia Kissoon.
You treat the people in
Osmond Edwards. You know, I'm going close to the screen, guys. That's why Charlotte's laughing.
Punky McDice.
I'm going close to the screen.
It's about Punky Drita.
Yes.
Right? Rose Anna, respect and manners. Guys, we want to thank you. We want to thank you. You know. This is we's family now. I want you to know that. I want you to know we's family now. Right.
Samuel, say hi to Joel for me.
Yes.
You see, this is the type of family.
Which family? Rosanna and Patricia Kissoon, Deborah Clark, Vanessa Andrews, all the other fantastic folks. Thanks for joining the live today. You know, unfortunately, we mind the business and we may drink some water 1, 2 times. Not plenty times we mind the business, but a few times we can drink a little water. But we don't run on water.
Yolanda, I see you there. I see you there.
And there are a number of ways you can contribute to this program. Gavin, Liverpool, right? Selena says, continue the great work. Without you,
it says, without you, our brothers and sisters, please please, we cannot do it without your help. We are family.
Family indeed.
Most definitely.
Family indeed. Thanks each and every one of you.
Chevron, we see you out there. We see you and Stacey Ann Stoll. I see you there also. Monica Jones. Guys, it is always good to have you here. And I know that, you know, a beautiful part about having these discussions with you guys is that we know that it doesn't end here. And the information that we give to you, these are discussions that you have with your own friends and family, your own circles, and that is the way in which information gets around. You know, I keep telling persons that, you know, I appreciate the fact that before there was persons were used to it being done in a specific way. But this is 2022, and we need to utilize all channels of communication, right? Prior to the utilization of technology, social media, and all of that, persons would have had to only be reliant on things like bottom house meetings and so on and so forth. It's impossible for you to go and meet with persons in the diaspora, every single country, and give the same messaging when it comes to that bottom house meeting. But technology, the integration of technology, globalization of the world altogether, it is it is so structured at this point that we can be here and have these conversations with you, and you will be fully informed in the comfort of your own home, even if you are not here in Guyana right now. For the persons that are here in Guyana, persons from region 1 right through to region 10, everyone is getting the information at the same time. And when we're off of here, persons can still come back and get the information after. And we cannot say enough
No, no, Hercules, we
how
see you there.
important it is to make sure that you guys get this information and for us to utilize these methods that are available to us right now in 2022. This is a new way, this is a new age, we
Awesome,
can't be left
awesome.
behind.
One big happy family. Folks, let me go down the road.
I see you, Beatrice. I see you.
Let me go down the road.
Beatrice Selby, I see you there.
We're gonna see you guys back at see you guys back at 8 this evening. Take your time, put it and smash that emoji button, share the damn live stream, partner with us.
That is correct.
That's
See
it.
you all. See you all. I'll be ringside this evening at 8 p.m. I'll be in the comment section. I'll be refereeing the fight there.
Candy, Lynn, and Judy. Have a good afternoon. You're Marky Paulette, Hartine, and C. Mokro, Sanborn, and all the other guys. Suzanne Kansas. Good to see you, Deborah Clark. Good to see Debs. Monica Jones, Mortimer Timothy Reynolds, all the other beautiful, fantastic, lovely, good-natured, and controversial people.
What
Good to
Sharon
see you.
said.
Have a good afternoon. Stay
Bye,
safe
guys. Bye.
and stay dry.